All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Workbench, your resource rich weekly podcast and newsletter. I'm your host, Brian, also co founder and CEO of Lead Truffle. Lead Truffle helps you convert website visitors and missed calls into paying customers. I'm really excited to be joined by James Lincoln, founder, CEO of Goodly. They do local SEO and web development for local business and home services specifically. James has a compelling story around starting his agency, growing his agency, then helping home services companies use local SEO to grow their business. So James, excited to dive into your background, your story, and tactics and insights for local SEO. But before we do that, how is your week going so far?
Oh, week's good, dude. Just living the dream, you know? Can't complain.
All right, love to hear it. So, yeah, James, tell us before we get into the nitty gritty and start talking shop. Would love to hear about you, your background, your story, and you know what business you're working on nowadays.
Yeah, man. So I live in Utah, originally from upstate New York, but got out to Utah for some school and moved all around and got married out here, got moved all around and ended up kind of settling here for now. Um, got 3 kids under the age of 5, 2 boys or 2 girls and a boy. Our most recent's a boy. And, I've been in this space for longer than I would have anticipated, to tell you the truth. I started working with home service businesses back in 2018. My father-in-law owned a carpet cleaning business and out in California, and we were living out there in between semesters at school, and just kind of got into the nitty gritty, clean carpet with him. I thought, oh man, I'm like this college educated kid. Like I should be able to go figure out how to grow this thing. And, come to find out these things aren't as easy to grow as you think they are, right? Like all these kids that think they can do it are a little naive. And if it was as easy as you think, the business owners would pull it off. Um, so anyway, did that with him for a while, ended up graduating and moving back out and living in a little studio on their property, and started a software company helping local businesses get reviews back when that was, a huge space for a few years. And then a couple of big players kind of dominated it as far as, text message automated review requests go. Still have that business, still have some customers. But anyway, then I kind of took a little hiatus, like kept running that business, but got a job and ended up getting back into the agency world, doing the local SEO kind of out of necessity. I was doing a graduate degree, getting my MBA, and was like, man, I'm kind of running out of money here. Like I need to build a business and get some cash flow. And I knew how to sell the home service businesses. I knew how to relate to them. I knew what they needed. Like I knew that market. And from my experience with the software business, I knew that a lot of home service businesses um, need more help, right? Like they would ask us for more help. They weren't happy with whatever agency they were working with, and so just kind of got rolling there and built this business just by cold calling. So that's what I'm working on now, is building Goodly. We've got a little over 200 customers at this point, team of 23, and yeah, just getting after it.
Want to dive into all of that. I have to ask, as someone from New York and who went to college in upstate New York, where about are you from up there?
I grew up in Latham, just outside Albany.
Okay, nice. I went to Binghamton University.
Heck yeah, dude. I had some buddies I went to high school with that
Yeah,
went to Binghamton.
yeah, good times. Kind of a cold, sunless city, but good school. Got a decent education out of it for not too expensive. So, um, yeah, okay. So let's dive in. Love that you've had that experience. Across software, across the agency piece. Reviews are gold for home services. So before we dive into the agency, tell us a little bit about the review software. There's some big players there. There's Nice Job. People are rigging things up with Zapier and AI, and it's definitely a crowded space, but it's a needed space. Like Google reviews are like literal gold to these folks. Yeah, tell us a
Yep.
bit about that software and kind of the insights there and how that went for you.
Yeah, so I mean, at the time, I think some of the businesses where I went to school out in Utah, Podium, which is a big player in the SMB space, like they only did reviews and text message communication, and they've kind of built out their suite of tools now to be quasi CRM, right? You can take billing through it. And that's kind of the direction a lot of those companies went. Um, obviously House Call Pro, Service Titan, like those guys have built-in review features. I mean, I'd say that when we were building it, like Nice Job was fairly new. We'd see those guys at some trade shows, and obviously all the big players were at trade shows. And I think Nice Job's done a really good job of just focusing on one thing, right? Like reviews of, frankly, like I work in House Call Pro with some of my clients now and then, and same with Service Titan. I think the review features that are native are kind of lacking, and same with Podium, right? Like they went out and built this customer communication platform, and the reviews fell by the wayside. Where Nice Job's just like focused on, that's all we're going to do is make sure you get reviews and have these campaigns that go out with multiple reminders. And I think that's kind of why they've cornered the space, is because they've stayed focused. And for us, right, like we kind of sunset the software 3 years ago or so. It just wasn't, it wasn't, frankly, like the outbound process we had, like Nice Job does a great job getting inbound. Like everybody knows Nice Job, you know what I mean? And so like we didn't have any of that. So like the outbound we were doing was just really challenging to do. And like the LTV of a customer didn't make a ton of sense for how much it cost us to go acquire them. But like I said, we still have some people on that software, and I'll throw people on there occasionally. Uh, I'm actually doing, for now with our customers, we do a lot of review build out inside Go High Level, which I'm fairly new to. I've been kind of anti Go High Level for a long time, but starting to use it internally, and then specifically for clients that need review automation, I'll often just throw them in there, simply for the fact that like the software that we sunset 3 years ago just like isn't up to par anymore, right? Like you got to stay on top of software, which is one of the downsides to software.
Yeah, no, you're speaking my language. So I think I previously built an app specifically for Jobber, and then they came out with their review tool. Although we didn't do reviews specifically, but I think a lot of these big incumbent software players are often going to have what I'll call a checkbox feature, meaning if you ask them if they do review automations, they can say yes. But then when you
Yeah.
actually go into the feature and you use it, you say, okay, like, yes, technically this does work to get more reviews, but compared to other tools that focus solely on that, it's like it's a C minus, maybe a C plus at best. But the CRM can put on their, product differentiation graph with the million checkboxes that they have reviews. And then we got to give a plug to Review Harvest, my guy Clay, very OG Workbench guest over a year ago. I know he's built an entire business around Go High Level and review automation. So it's definitely a space with a lot, and I know Go High Level is pretty powerful as well. So let's get into the transition then for you, James, from software to agency. Someone might say a local SEO agency, highly needed, huge market, but also very busy. A lot of folks offering it, whether you're a Fiverr guy or an Upwork guy, or you're one of the many agencies out there. So what for you was the impetus and insight to say, okay, done with the software, moving on to a local SEO agency?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think this will probably be a lame answer, and people may not like this, but this is just kind of how life works sometimes, right? Like my father-in-law has been cleaning carpet for 25 years. He didn't think 25 years ago he was going to be a carpet cleaner, right? Like, but it's what worked. And so like I was at a point, I'd come back, my wife and I moved back to Utah. I'd quit a job and given up all my income to do an MBA, thinking I wanted to buy a business, right? That was the whole plan, was like, I'm going to go buy a blue collar business, an SBA loan, and I'm going to search through my MBA program. And we were just running out of money faster than I thought. And so I needed a way to make some cash, and I knew how to do this stuff. Like I knew the market, I knew how to sell to them. I knew there was a need. Was I like at that time the expert in local SEO? No, I wasn't, but I knew what I was doing. Right, I had enough background in it, and I'm like, I can go learn this. And so I signed up some customers and got to work. And uh, out of necessity, I had to build a team. I had to build a sales team. I had to build a customer success team. I had to build a delivery team. And because I was doing school, right, I was finishing an MBA program. And when I ended up graduating from the MBA program, thinking, okay, cool, now I'm going to go buy my business, I look around and I'm like, holy cow, I've actually got a business here, right? Like this is a good business, and we do good work and we make really good money, and I think I can grow this thing. And so if I graduated a year ago now, and we've just about doubled from where I was a year ago, which was, I mean, I don't know if people care to hear numbers, right? But when I graduated, we were doing forty
Get
thousand
into it
dollars
if
a
you want to
month in
share it. Yeah.
revenue,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and now we're at 76,000 in revenue every month. And I'm like, man, this is a good business. We just crossed $1 million in realized revenue all time last month, and I'm like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to go buy a business and take on a ton of debt when I'm like, I have a business here that functions, and I can continue building, and I like doing it, right? Like I like working with these businesses.
Talk to us about going from 40 to 76K. What did you do to double your business in a year? I mean, that's a tall feat. So like, yeah, what can you share on that?
Oh man, it was just like we figured out. Like I said, I knew this market. And I knew how to sell to them. Okay, so like we figured out early on how to reach these businesses that needed help, and and we're on like the low end of the market oftentimes, right? Like we offer a pretty commoditized SEO service to people who like don't want to pay 3 grand, 4 grand a month for SEO, so we're charging 500 to 1,000 for SEO services, or even as low as like 200 for just building a website, right? And like, rather than charging 3 grand up front, we put them on a payment plan and say, hey, it's $200 a month, and we'll throw out maintenance, and like you call us and you need help, like we're here. So I'm like, we figured out how to reach that market, and we do a good job, right? Like we retain a lot of our customers. And I know agencies, especially on the higher end, have huge churn rates, right? Where they're churning out 40, 50% of their customers every year, right? Because a customer will last for 4 to 6 months on a $3,000 retainer, right? And then realize like, oh shoot, I'm not really getting my money's worth out of this. Where I'm like, we just kind of get our hands dirty and get in there and do the work, and like customers stick with us for 18 months, right? I've got customers from when we started 24 months ago. They're still customers, and it's like our average retention is generally around 18 months, at which point people are kind of like, well, I've grown about as much as I can handle, right? And then we kind of have that conversation with them of like, well, do you want to go get a new truck and hire techs and yada yada yada, and they're like, no, I don't want to. And then the alternative would be they've grown to a point where they're like, they've just outgrown us, and they need that person that's going to get really 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 hands on at a high level with a fine tooth comb and charge them 4 or 5 grand a month. And it's like, well, we just don't have the capacity to do that. um, and so that's generally what will happen when we lose customers at that 18-month mark, is they've either outgrown us or they've grown to where they want to be. So
Let's talk about some of the things you see that work best for local SEO. The Google Map Pack seems to be the most common theme we hear getting listed in there. Maybe do some Google LSA if you're willing to pay for ads. Got to get your location pages up. Got to make sure that when people search for your service in your area, that you're showing up. Those are some of the common. I'm not a local SEO expert. Those are a lot of things I've heard talking to other agencies and business owners. For you, James, like what are those big three things that you're focused on when you bring a client on to help them drive more business through local SEO?
yeah, I mean, so it's always for us, it's the Google business profile is number one, like first and foremost, and then the website and reviews, right? Like those three things. And I mean, I know reviews kind of fall within the Google business profile, but when I say Google business profile, like most of the customers that we're bringing on board, like they've got nothing on that Google business profile. And it blows me away, right? Like, again, we've got smart people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year, with these blue collar businesses. And, and, to go back to what you said about checking the box with like the review software inside Job or a House Call Pro or Service Titan, I think that the biggest pitfall that these local business owners run into is like, oh, that's good enough, right? Like, oh, that does check the box, and I don't need to go do any more research and figure out, am I operating at the highest level I am operating, right? So it's like, well, let's just throw up a Google business profile because that's what everybody has nowadays, and it's like, cool, I checked the box. Or yeah, House Call Pro has review software, and it's like, well, is using your crappy review software inside House Call Pro worth saving $75 a month on Nice Job? Probably not, right? Like you're going to get so much more value than that $75 that you're spending even though you're like, well, it's the same feature, it's not the same feature. And the same thing goes with the Google business profiles. It's like having a Google business profile versus having one that's dialed in and targeted to like your services and your market and your service area. Like it's night and day. And so it's like you got to get that thing dialed in. And then your website, like it blows me away how many people have garbage websites, right? That look like they were built in 2001. And like one thing we're working on now is putting AI chatbots on websites. Not that are going to chat on the website, because that's not how the customer wants to chat. The customer wants to text, right? So it's like
Yeah, texting makes a lot of sense. No, I'm laughing
totally.
because that's what my company does. But yeah,
I mean, you're
go
spot
ahead.
on,
Yeah,
dude, right? Like it just doesn't make sense to fill out a
it's a great
form.
idea. I love it.
It doesn't make sense to fill out a form on a
Yeah,
website and
yeah,
like why am I going to get a painting quote and like filling out a form with my name and my email and my phone number and my address just to get like a we will contact you soon. And then when they
preach,
call me,
preach.
they're
Yeah,
like, hey, what's your address? And
yeah,
how big is your
yeah,
house? And I'm like, I already gave you this information. It's like
for
calling
sure.
Chase and being like, hey, here's all my address and all my things I'm going to confirm with you. And then you get on the phone with them and they're like, well, what's your address? And I'm like, why did you have me answer these? And it's just like it's not good, right? Like it checks the box, but it's not good enough. And so it's like,
Yeah,
well, come up to the 2025 and like get a website that's built to convert, like that looks like it's the best representation of your business, and like put some of these features in there that are simple features that are just going to warm up your leads, right? Rather than having like literally every lead that comes in through a website form is a cold lead, in my opinion. And frankly, website forms don't even get filled out that often. You know what I mean? And then you get into calls like I'm ranting, dude, because I feel passionately about this stuff. But I'm like, when you get a call and nobody answers, it's like boom, cold lead. Yeah, you can call them back in 2 hours, or you could send a text. Like I get texts all the time because we cold call. I'm like, I'll get texts that come back through when we're cold calling, or people say like, hey, this is Integrity Plumbing and Drain, and we're sorry we missed your call. How can we help? Versus, hey, this is James at Integrity Plumbing. What's up? How can I help you? Can I get you a quote? Right? Like I mean, it sounds like that's what you're doing, and it's like that's the solution. Is you got to be meeting these customers where they're at,
yeah.
but just checking the boxes and saying like, oh well, yeah, I implemented a text back feature, and yeah, I have a website, and yeah, I have a Google business profile. It's just not enough. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's
no,
my
I
there's
mean,
my rant. There's my rant for the day.
anyone listening is probably laughing because you just like in what I'm building. So you're preaching to the choir here on all of that. So no notes, full thumbs up. Totally agree. For people that are thinking about local SEO and they don't really know where to get started, I think it can be a little intimidating, right? Is there like some basics that you see? I mean, we went through some of them, but like, is there that one thing that jumps off the page that's relatively easy for someone to get started with before they're ready to engage an agency? Although you guys have pretty affordable prices, but if someone's listening like, man, I'm in, but I gotta pick that one thing to do today to get started, what does anything come to mind?
um, I mean, obviously, like get a Google business profile up and like throw that up there. Like that's just like table stakes. For people that are starting out, I often tell them just go to ads, right? Because it's gonna take time to build up reviews. It's gonna take time to get traffic to that Google business profile organically. So if you're like, hey, I need jobs tomorrow, like set aside an ad budget, find someone good at ads. You know what I mean? Like find someone you can trust, because you can go burn through money way too fast on garbage ads. Um, like go hit those. Like it's literally, I mean, my business to this day is still like 98% built through outbound. Okay. And I'm like, if I'm starting a landscaping business today, you better believe I'm going to build my business through outbound. Right. So like hustle, 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 and get like I generally tell people, if you're not grossing 250K a year, right? Because often if they're at 250, 250,000, that's an early stage home service business, right? It's probably just them going out and doing the work. Maybe they've got someone doing it with them. But until you're at 250K in revenue, right? And you can average that out, like what run rate is. So if you're hitting 25K a month, like check the box, you're there. Like until you're there, you should be getting all of your leads yourself, right? Like if you have the money for ads, go find someone to like run ads for you and spend the money, like it's worth it. But if not, like go knock doors, get in Facebook groups. Facebook groups are gold. Like get in the Facebook groups, hang door hangers, like go do free work for a neighbor, right? And then like knock all the doors in their neighborhood. Like, I mean, just like hustle, 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 hit that $20,000, $25,000 in revenue mark, and then jump right in to investing in SEO because it's a no brainer. It might take a little time, right? But I always tell people, like, yeah, maybe it takes 6 to 8 months. It depends, right? It depends a lot on the business, right? But maybe it takes 6 to 8 months. But like, don't let anybody tell you it's going to take 6 to 8 months and then not follow up with you until 6 to 8 months. Like, you're going to see along the way that it's starting to work. It's not like you go from no calls to 100 calls overnight. That's not how it works, right? You're going to go from no calls to 10 calls to 20 calls to 30, 40, 50, all the way to 100 calls. And you'll be like, oh, this is working over time. Um, so it's like, get to that point where you can justify spending $500 to $1,000 a month and pull the trigger. Cause if you're a growth minded business owner, like, you'll get there. And until then, you just got to hustle.
Outside of local SEO and the website, are there any other what other marketing channels do you either recommend for a home service business, or are there any other channels that you would say definitely stay away from, typically not worth the ROI? Any other channels you can recommend or warn people away from in your experience?
Um, you know, I generally don't love like the home advisors or Angie lists just because, you're paying for leads that other people are also paying for. I tell people to stay away from like the rank and rent sites, right? Where like I've got a plumbing company that I positioned in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I just sell leads. It's just a front for selling leads. I tell people to stay away from those because it's like you might as well be building your own asset in that scenario, right? Like, you're gonna be just at the mercy of your lead flow is at the mercy of whoever you're paying for their lead flow. It's not your lead flow. So those are like the general ones I'd say stay away from. I mean, I think every home service business should be paying for ads and paying for SEO, right? Or doing it in house. Like, you don't have to pay somebody to do it. If you get to the point where you can hire it in house and you feel like that works, or you want to go the global talent route, which is amazing, like, and you think you can manage that, like, by all means do it and build it in house. But I think everybody should be focused on SEO and paid ads. And then I think that some of the ones that are a little bit overlooked are the door hangers, like, they work. You got to track it really well, and everything should be tracked, dude. Like, this is what kills me. I'm like, again, you got business owners who just want to go do the work and make the money. And I'm like, if you just either, brought somebody in or etched out 10 hours a week to do some tracking, like, you could make some phenomenal marketing decisions, right? Where you actually know what your ROI is on door hangers and on Facebook groups and on your Google business profile and on organic website leads and on paid ads. LSA, I think, is kind of meh today. Used to be awesome. Back in 2019, dude, LSA was amazing. But again, it's just kind of table stakes. It's like everybody's doing it, and so it's not what it used to be. So you always got to find like the new thing to do while maintaining the things that are going to work, which are the SEO and the paid ads.
James, anything we didn't cover here that you wanted to get to or share with the Workbench audience today?
Uh the only thing I'd say is, like, take the time to learn, and I think there's a lot of really good agencies out there. Agencies get a bad rep sometimes, but like, there's really good agencies out there that will do really good work. But it's on you. Anytime you're paying money, right? Like, it's on you to make sure you're spending your money wisely. So educate yourself a little bit. Doesn't mean go manage your Google business profile yourself or go run your own ads. That's probably not the best use of your time. But like, educate yourself on how it works so that you can have a meaningful conversation with whoever you hire to do this. And I think that's just responsible business ownership in any sense.
James, for people that want to get their local SEO started with Goodly Growth or connect with you personally on social media, where can folks find you?
Goodlygrowth.com. You can go there. If anybody wants to hit me up, I'm on LinkedIn, or James at goodlygrowth.com. You can email me. And yeah, we're eager to help anybody that wants help.
James, thanks so much. Appreciate your time today.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on.